Welcome to Culture Warriors. I'm here with one of our more prolific writers, Sabrina Maddeaux. Great to see you. I want to ask you, in this sort of new age of everything that's been going on, social media, it takes a lot of courage to put out the opinions that you do. Sometimes they're quite controversial. How do you muster up the courage and the thought process when you really are ready to tackle something controversial?
You do have to have a thick skin, and it wasn't always that way. When I started off writing in my early 20s, it was a lot more difficult to deal with the hate. Now it rolls off my back. Everyone has an opinion, and I don't expect everyone to agree with me either. That would be boring. Right. I consider myself, when I write columns, as someone who provokes thought and conversation. So I want people to have those debates. And the only time it gets to me is actually when it comes from other people in the industry. Right. And I feel as a young female, sometimes they don't treat you as seriously as older male writers. Right. And at what point did you feel, this is what I want to do? I want to be a writer, I want to be a journalist, and I'm going to tackle hot topics that, some people just will not deal with and will not contend with? For me, it's not a choice. I have opinions and I want to express them, and I don't think enough people share their opinions and enough young women share their opinions from the female perspective. So it's something I've wanted to do for as long as I can remember.
No, I think in part of that is because of the backlash that one gets. I mean, I personally get a lot, as you can imagine. I just print off the nastiest ones I get and put them on my wall and read them in the news meetings, which is always fun. But it's a very difficult thing because we take them... far too often we take it personally. And, I think you and I have a different perspective on that. But do you think that's what keeps some women, for example, away from things like politics and things like opinion writing?
Oh, absolutely. I know a lot of other young women writers. They talk to me and they say, how do you deal with this? Because I take it so personally and it gives me anxiety. It gives me anxiety attacks. And sometimes that chases them out of the field. Sure. You have to, I always tell them, not take it personally. If you have to, don't read the comments and just keep doing your thing.
Absolutely. There's so much going on in this day and age, with style and Me Too and fashion. That's one of the other things that you have an area of expertise, is you write about fashion and lifestyle. How have we seen sort of the fashion industry moving with this really broader conversation about sexual harassment and things like that?
Well, I'm excited that we're talking more about fashion in a serious light, because I started off as a fashion writer, and the trouble with that is everyone thinks you're just writing about the 10 best jeans for this spring, which I've always said fashion can be tied to economics, to politics, to civil liberties. And now we're actually talking about how we present ourselves that affects all these things, including rights for women and maybe how we get paid and how we get perceived and sexual harassment. It's a big thing for me that women can be fashionable. They can dress in a low V dress and still be taken seriously and paid well.
Absolutely. Tell me one of the funnest things you've ever covered in your career.
I love covering the Toronto Film Festival every year. I cover the party beat for that, so I get to see all the celebrities out late at night, sometimes doing things they shouldn't be doing.
We love those behind the scenes.
Exactly.
And what would be the worst thing you've ever covered?
I would say early in my career, having to go to all of these beauty and fashion previews where you were expected to just be the stereotypical fashion journalist saying, you love everything, and it's so chic, and go buy this. And I always want to do more than that and believe that's so harmful to the industry.
I want to talk a little bit about the federal budget that came out recently, the gender-based budget that the Liberal government has put forward for Canadians. Your take on that?
I'm very upset that there's no money for childcare. I'm in my late 20s. All my friends are starting to get married and have kids, and the ones who have can't go back to work, or they're thinking about not because they can't afford childcare. It's $20,000 in Toronto to pay for one child. And when you look at the average income, especially when women are often making less, how are they supposed to pay for that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the biggest obstacle that keeps women out of the workforce, actually, and there is no acknowledgement of it whatsoever. In fact, I would say that the federal budget's already out of date because so many things have already changed.
Yeah, you can't say you're for women being in the workforce and pro-women and then not deal with the biggest thing keeping them out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, no lack of opinion here, so share yours with us as well. Log on to Facebook and Twitter.